After the 2003 explosion, we wanted to find out why D.D. Williamson was allowed to continue operating on Payne Street.
We learned not only were they allowed to stay, they expanded. Let's go back to 1933. That's when the city first created a board to designate zoning. The Payne Street location was designated as light to medium industrial. You are looking at the zoning law from back then. It's only a few sentences. We dug up the city's oldest maps and looked at how this part of the city was laid out. Since 1933, the zoning hasn't changed for the area. Even after the 2003 explosion, I found no records of the city under Councilwoman Tina Ward Pugh and Mayor Jerry Abramson to move the facility. In fact, the only zoning records I did find were of an expansion, which the owner at the time, Ted Nixon, said was to make the factory safer.
We discovered that an employee had submitted a complaint to Kentucky's OSHA just 3 months prior to the explosion. According to this complaint, dated Thursday, August 29, 2024, the employee said there were chemical leaks, alarms were not functioning, and that they had to run off the floor because they couldn't breathe. The employee added that there was product on the floor and hoses all around the work area, making it unsafe to make it to safety. OSHA writes them back the following Tuesday, saying they decided that an inspection was not warranted because the information provided was too vague. They also explained the address to D.D. Williamson was incorrect on the form, stating it was only described as DDW and being on Muhammad Ali Boulevard instead of Payne Street. OSHA added they tried to reach the employee twice with no response before closing the case. Givaudan has another food coloring plant in Florence, Kentucky, just outside of Cincinnati, and we found that in 2012, that plant had an explosion too. These are pictures from that blast. According to our sister station, WXIX, a truck was offloading product into a storage silo when it exploded. It scattered debris all over the grounds of the facility. Luckily, no one was hurt. That plant is not immediately surrounded by a neighborhood, but WXIX reported several people called 911 after hearing the blast. The plant still operates there today.
It was through open records requests that we uncovered the tank that exploded never had a permit, nor was it inspected prior to being put into operation. Here are the documents saying just that, written by the state's boiler inspector. He explains a contractor had gotten a permit to do maintenance work for D.D. Williamson on 2 tanks they brought in from out of state. But then there was no installation paperwork filed after that. The state told us they've begun their enforcement action against the contractor, Cochran Mechanical from Elizabethtown. They declined to comment. The state fined them $500 and sent the information over to the county attorney's office for possible misdemeanor charges. It's still unclear if Givaudan would also be responsible for the lack of permitting and inspections. Givaudan told us they had not gotten a notice of any enforcement procedures. They said, as the investigations at the site continue, we're conducting a robust analysis of the process and safety procedures. We're confident that we are taking the proper steps at our sites on behalf of our employees and the communities in which we operate. The county attorney's office told me that they are not the investigative agency. Rather, they rely on law enforcement to bring them cases to review. They then base their decision on any possible charges based on that. The law says the owner, user, or operator can be charged. It's a Class B misdemeanor, but they could charge for every day the tank was used unlawfully. The county attorney's office did review a case after the explosion in 2003. This is the letter where they asked the fire department for all of their files. No charges ended up happening.
Givaudan has confirmed they're not rebuilding at the Payne Street location, and Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg told us it's best for everybody if they move outside the city.
He spoke to those who were left homeless and saw the devastation firsthand. He says he's holding them accountable.
The company needs to do what's right and make sure that every resident that was impacted by this explosion is fully compensated for all the damages that occurred. That's the company's responsibility, just as it's the company's responsibility to ensure that they operate their plant safely for their employees and for anyone who is around their facility.
Coming up after the break, we give you the tools to help you protect yourself and your family.
What emergency management wants you to know if you live near an industrial factory.